The campaign continues. Campaign for liberty. With me and has for a long time is my wife Carol, sitting over here. But it is a delight to see an enthusiastic crowd. I'm delighted you're here tonight and this week and being involved in Campaign for the Liberty. Because in many ways, that's what all of us are doing. And in many ways, I've done it for a few years. And since we started this organization 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I guess, I got to name it. And I thought, well, why don't we call it something that I've been doing? Campaign for Liberty. That's what we'll call it. So that type of campaign goes on for a long time until we win. And since the world is imperfect, we'll never have perfect liberty. But if we don't campaign for liberty, the other side is going to keep campaigning for statism and big government, and they are our enemy, and we must stop them. The best success we've had with the Campaign for Liberty has been the grassroots effort the Campaign for Liberty has done on making sure that we got the bill at least past the House of Representatives to audit the Federal Reserve. Not only that, we're getting the legislation passed in the House, and who knows, we might still get the rest of it done in the Senate, but we don't know. But the more important thing is calling attention to the American people the issue of monetary policy. They're never going to put that back in the bottle. Let me tell you, people know now the importance of monetary policy and the Federal Reserve. Thank you for all your Liberty is the issue, because if you understand liberty, you can apply it to whether it's civil liberties, foreign policy, monetary policy, economic policy. It's all very much the same. But in order to understand how the system works, you have to understand the monetary system. Because big government can't exist without a Federal Reserve. It just wouldn't happen, because Congress would have to pay their bills. With the Federal Reserve, they're able to deceive the people, pretend that they are not being harmful, and delay the payment, and that's what this is all about. Now, Bernanke, this week as usual, and all the Federal Reserve chairmen that I have met always say when they get into trouble and they can't seem to get out of it, say, well, Congress has to do more. Of course, they shouldn't do more. They should do a lot less, is what they do. It isn't the Fed against the Congress against the Fed. The Congress created the Fed. The Congress, you know what? They can get rid of the Fed if they want to. But if there are special interest groups, as there certainly are in this country, that support the warmongering going on in the military-industrial complex, and if they had to tax the American people to pay all the bills for all the wars, just think in the last 10 years, the national debt went up over $4 trillion just for the wars that we have been fighting in the Middle East. And just look at the disaster in the Middle East today. 11 country embassies being demonstrated against with violence against Americans because for some reason they don't like us dropping drone missiles on their countries.
Right.
This expenditure couldn't happen. And wars couldn't be fought if we had honest money, because the people would have to be taxed and they would rebel and say it's a bad investment. But it is so deceitful, and they can delay the inevitable for a long time, but that long time is coming to an end, and that's why our work is so important right now. Domestic welfare spending. If you paid all the bills, people would rebel, and everybody would know how much it's costing. But if you can run up the deficits, and there is an absolute agreement that the Fed is going to monetize it. They're going to buy the debt. If not, what happens? Interest rates go up. Well, they could borrow for a while, but there's not enough lenders out there, so interest rates would be higher, and this would be hard for the economy. But then all the pressure would be on the people and the Congress to cut the spending and let the people spend the money, not the government. If you look at our history up until 1913, it was far from perfect, but the size of government didn't have steady growth. And it was the inevitably bad year of 1913 that changed, our history so dramatically. Bringing in the Federal Reserve, changing the foreign policy that said that we're going to make the world safe for democracy. We'll have to fight one more war to end all wars, and you know how well that has worked out. Create an income tax, and just think of the past 100 years. But as I have tried to say so many times, and certainly tried to point it out in Tampa, it's all coming to an end, and we should be grateful that it's coming to an end. The question isn't so much, will the Keynesian and socialism, welfareism, and interventionism end? Is how it's going to end, and how many people are going to prepare, how many of us will be out there, how many will then argue the case for sound money and personal liberty and economic liberty and a sensible foreign policy. That is what we have to have out there. Now it'd be nice, as I suggested in the campaign, there is no reason why we can't have a transition. We can move from one to another. We could turn down the spigots of spending and bring our troops home and cut back on spending and work our way out of this. The odds aren't very good that's going to happen. Just this week, there was efforts that can